Ladies and gentlemen, we are in for a real treat on Sportswire Radio, depending on what side of the coin you are, because we are going to have an Alliance Wrestling League takeover for good reasons. Because if you saw what happened earlier today on the Alliance Wrestling League YouTube page, you know there is a lot to discuss, and there's going to be, I promise you, more retribution ahead by September the 16th than what I just saw on the big screen in the Liam Nielsen movie. Our first of two guests, we saw him last week on the show, and right afterwards, we saw him literally, as we thought, annihilate his brother to the point of no return. But we just saw earlier today on Alliance Wrestling League TV that his brother has responded and some, and our guest is going to talk about it. Plus, who knows what else is on his mind. He needs no further introduction, but because he is a war criminal and an original, he is going to get that introduction that he so rightfully deserves. So with that, wait for it. Further ado here on the Sports Report, number one level sports show. They call him the war criminal, the original Dylan Andrews. My friend, welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
Definitely a good time to have you because we have a lot to discuss tonight, especially if you are a fan like we are here on Sportswire Radio of the Alliance Wrestling League, because there is a lot to recap, a lot to unpack, and it involves you right off the bat, the war criminal, the original Dylan Andrews, because we saw you Friday night last week on the show with Hillbilly Tilly, and you basically said to your brother, AJ Morgan, don't take this match. Don't get involved. Don't do whatever you want to do. And apparently,
I believe I told him to run in the opposite direction, to run as fast as he could.
And I said, listen, just forget about those plans. Maybe reconsider, reevaluate. Don't bother. And yet, here we are. We saw some of those plans last week on the show, but your brother in episode 10 apparently hasn't seen enough. He wants more. He went to Hillbilly Tilly, and it was broke on the Alliance Wrestling League episode 10 right before ADT's match with Tyson Gates, and we'll certainly get his reactions with that, I'm sure, in a little while. But Retribution, the biggest show in the company's history, he wants a rematch. And for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, the war criminal, the original Dylan Andrews, your reactions?
I think he's out of his damn mind. I don't know why he keeps on getting up and moving forward, coming back to the ass beating that he keeps on receiving.
It was quicker than a New York Minute last week on episode 9.
I don't understand it. I don't know why he just won't lay down and die. But he won't, and he's going to keep on getting his ass kicked until he learns this lesson.
Do you think there's a reverse psychology here? I mean, he had a lot to say, even in his brief comments.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't watch his portion of it. I don't care what he says. At the end of the day, I'm gonna keep on kicking his ass, just like I did when we were kids, when we were teenagers, and here we are now. We're all grown up. I'm still kicking his ass. Nothing's ever gonna change.
So what do you think then it is? Obviously, you kicked his butt last week. You said a lot last time you were on the show. So what do you think then it is from your vantage point?
Ignorance. I think ignorance is bliss. I think he's ignorant to what I possibly can do. I mean, obviously, I've proven that I don't need but 2 minutes to lay his ass out. But I don't know. I don't know if he's pushing to get more out of me. I don't know if he's pushing himself to the furthest extent that he possibly can. I don't know what his end game is, but my end game is to end him. Bottom line.
Okay, so that's certainly fair points. I get all that, but do you think there's this kind of, let's say, and I know you didn't really watch the promo. I know you don't care. You're certainly entitled to how you feel. And looking at the size of you, you're a war criminal. I'm certainly not going to argue or disagree with any of that. But do you think there's an almost like a sick way that he's a gluttony for punishment, and maybe he thinks by you continuing to do what you've done to him that maybe you kind of let your guard down on the 16th of September in retribution, and maybe he thinks he can pull off an upset?
Maybe he is a glutton for pain. He's a little weirdo, so he might be into that kind of thing. We don't know. But as far as letting my guard down, no, I don't let my guard down. I went to war. I never let my guard down. I made it back alive because I did what I had to do to get back alive.
And I certainly would not, like I said, I premise this. I would not argue or disagree with any of this, but he knows you better than anybody.
I don't think he knows me as good as he thinks he knows me.
Why do you say that? Why do you say that?
He doesn't know what I'm capable of. I've been locked up for years. He doesn't know me. I'm a completely different person from the last time that we encountered when we were teenagers. He doesn't know who I am now. He doesn't know what he's getting into.
Do you think he's changed in any way from your vantage point?
Not from what I've seen. He's still the same old bitch from day one.
Okay, all right. So you know what? That's a fair point. Now, I'm going to bring in our second of two guests here in the Alliance Wrestling League Takeover. He certainly needs no introduction, but he is here. We are here with our reigning, defending Alliance Wrestling League champion of the world himself, who certainly makes Flair blush with the way he is dressed. He is certainly looking like $1 million champion that he is. And we are here, none other, with Mr. ADT himself.
You're copying my style.
Mine are Louis Vuitton. They're a lot more expensive than yours.
Well, I'm going to certainly not compare and contrast, but obviously, Champ, good to be with you. And obviously, you're a busy man as always, and I'm curious to get your reactions and kind of what happened here in the main event of episode 10, where you were in firm control in this match. I mean, you basically, from the start, have done what you've pretty much done throughout in the Alliance Wrestling League, especially when it came to Tyson Gates. And then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, Christopher James decided to come out just as you were about to put Mr. Gates away, and he takes away that chair, and all of a sudden we see that Tyson cutter, and you lost 1, 2, 3. And what happened there? And give us your reactions for those that are listening and watching here on Sportswire Radio.
Well, Tom, first of all, gentlemen, can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay, so first things first, I'd like to apologize for being late. But, ladies and gentlemen, in case you do not know who I am, what you are looking at right now is greatness personified. You are looking at 240 pounds of twisted steel sex appeal, the king of Saturdays himself. But most importantly, the AWL heavyweight champion. Now, as you were saying, absolutely, there was a little bit of a mistake there. You see, I let my guard down, as I heard y'all talking about earlier.
Something I don't do.
And
well, okay, we'll get to that.
Okay,
we'll get to that.
Okay, just calm down. Trying to be calm. So. Yeah, Christopher James got involved in my match. Something I thought he wouldn't do. And unfortunately, that made it to where good old Tyson Gates stole a victory. I mean, let's call it what it is, right? He didn't actually beat me.
You dominated the match. I mean, I would say from pretty much start to finish. I mean,
I was beating his ass bell to bell. Let's go ahead and say that. If it wasn't for Christopher James helping his newfound butt buddy in Tyson Gates, we probably would have just seen another notch on my belt, which has so far been nothing but wins, unless you count, the win I handed AJ Morgan on the silver fucking platter. But we're not going to talk about that. We only talk about results here, right? So it is what it is. Doesn't matter. Title's still on my shoulder. I have a clear mind, and Christopher James has he has something coming.
So why was Christopher James even there in the first place? I wasn't there. I wasn't there this week since I'm out of town. But
yeah, it's hard to fly Dylan Andrews out here week to week. I let them dip into my funds so that way we can get him here. But it is what it is,
But he's running a bit low on funds. He spent the money on Louis Vuitton.
But even Mr. James, when he did what he did, sort of, he almost seemed like confused. I mean, like it was a miscommunication. I mean, from your vantage point, talk about that, champ.
Well, you see, the thing is me and Christopher James, we go way back, right? That is something that
there's a friendship there. He kind of referenced
absolutely.
Yep.
We grew up together. Hell, his dad's a professional wrestler, and his dad actually trained both of us in this sport, and we have developed over time together. When he got taller, faster, stronger, I got just as tall, a lot more fast. Well, probably not as fast, but I'm definitely 10 times stronger than that kid is.
I think the stronger part, we're all going to not dispute that.
Faster minus the ass, ADT.
Yeah, it is what it is. Cheers to that, by the way.
Can't do 3, you can only do 2.
It's okay. It's okay, But my point here is that, I don't understand why he seems so conflicted. I mean, let's be honest here. He hasn't had that great of a run since we have relaunched. Let's just say it like it is. He's had, a couple losses to some subpar at best talent that we have. And, sure, he is incredibly gifted when it comes to the athleticism and the overall look. He looks like one. But the thing is he doesn't think like a champion. And that's where we are different, if that makes sense. I've said since day one, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to keep this title over my shoulder, around my waist. And, it wasn't that I needed to get that chair to beat Tyson Gates. I was beating the shit out of him the entire time. He has a tendency to grab the referee when he's in, when in doubt, grab Tristan out, but unfortunately, poor Tristan, I apologize. I handed him a hundo and we called it, fair. But it is what it is. He got involved and he got in the way. He got knocked down. And sometimes, again, we go back to, respect. Pulling a referee is not very respectful. And there was some comments made in the locker room between me and him. And I don't like the kid. He is very disrespectful. And sometimes you just got to teach, these fucking children what I apologize. I forgot Sportswire, family friendly, but
it's okay.
You'll have to forgive me. It's been a long afternoon after,
I can imagine you are listen, I'm sure you're very disappointed right now, but I want to ask both of you guys this question because you just mentioned the locker room. It's the first time that we've heard the locker room thrown out here on Sportswire. From both of your vantage points, obviously you're coming at it from different angles, but maybe similar angles. Obviously, ADT, you had probably a night that you should not have had. The war criminal, the original Dylan Andrews, you obviously had your brother call you out wanting another match. I mean, is the locker room right now kind of divided right now? Do you think the locker room right now, we're starting to see kind of tension start to boil as we get ready for Retribution on the 16th of September? What do you guys think about that?
Absolutely. It's divided between savages and bitches. I
can agree. There's a difference between wannabes and can bees. That bottom line. AJ Morgan,
never gonna bees.
And the never gonna bees. I'm sorry. AJ Morgan, never gonna be.
Yeah.
Christopher James, wannabe. Tyson Gates, no. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I cannot stand Tyson Gates. Cannot stand him.
So with the locker room being divided then, and obviously there's a line of those who might be have and those who might be have not. What would your strategy for both of you guys going into Retribution would be? Because maybe there's a point that there's backs against the wall, especially when it comes to your brother, the war criminal, the original Dylan Andrews, and now Christopher James, who certainly, in a way, now cost you a victory that you should have had. I mean, what's your thoughts on that in terms of like what's your strategy for both here, and how these guys might have some motivation to come after both of you now?
You can start.
Champ, no, go for it, champ.
So let's just put it like this, okay?
Sure.
You said back against the wall.
Yes.
I am facing Christopher James September 16th at Retribution in a backyard rules match. No DQ. Anything goes. I think everyone has a general consensus now after the last man standing match against Always Job and Morgan what I am capable of doing when there are no rules. On top of that, you add in the fact that this title is on the line. And when this title is on the line, there's a good guy that I know that says, the belt makes the man do crazy shit. Paraphrasing. But, back against the wall, that's just real. You see, the thing is I'm still very flustered over the whole fact that Christopher James did what he did today. He shouldn't have been there.
That was bizarre. I mean, honestly, watching the show today, I was expecting this non-title match that you were going to do basically what Dylan did to AJ last week. That's what I was expecting, to be honest.
That's what I was expecting.
And that's the thing, too. Like, don't get me wrong. Yes, I did severely underestimate Tyson Gates. I will give him that. He is an incredible athlete.
He's not ADT, though.
He's not on me. He's not on my level. Absolutely not. He will never be on my level. And within that short, what was it, like 9-10 minutes? You clearly saw.
About 10 minutes.
You clearly saw we let him have his fun, and then as quickly as we wanted the momentum back in our corner, we could easily get it back and the ball back on our side of the court. I'm not worried about anyone come Retribution. I'm just worried about what I'm going to do to people come September 16th.
Okay. Well, what about you, the war criminal, the original Dylan Andrews? What's your thoughts on that?
There is no putting me against the wall. I'm right where I want to be.
They tried to put his ass in a cage, and we see how that worked out.
That's true.
I got out.
Obviously.
You can't cage me. You can't put me against the wall. I am right where I want to be. AJ Morgan, what's he going to do? He couldn't touch me. He couldn't do anything in the 2 minutes that it took me to lay his ass out and pin him 1, 2, 3. In fact, I could have ended it 30 seconds into it. I played with him.
But I don't get, though, why he wants to go back and wrestle.
I don't know.
He has a pain fetish. That's what it is. Let's call it like it is.
The thing is, he only wants a single falls match. He doesn't want a stipulation match with me like he did with ADT. He is afraid of what I can do. He does not want this.
I don't know. I mean, to me, it's a little bizarre after what you've done to your brother. I mean, in a way, James and ADT, that's also bizarre to me, champ, because again, I'm still trying to figure out what was he doing interfering in the match, and then it was almost like he was perplexed at what he was doing. He had no reason. You didn't call him out. There was no animosity here. I mean, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm perplexed. I mean,
I think he's playing dumb.
I mean, yeah, why would you want to play with fire, though? We've been taught this since we've been children.
So let me ask a follow-up question. I don't even know if this is something that you've thought about, champ. I mean, why did Hillbilly Tilly even allow that? I mean, he's the general manager. Aren't we supposed to have law and order here in the Alliance Wrestling League? I mean, you have a thought on that?
It could just be, to bring it back to, the last time me and you talked. I'm not one to say that, I'm a victim of any sorts. However, one of my greatest rivals becomes the general manager of the company.
Yes, we spoke about that, and he certainly had shots thrown at him last week.
Let's be honest, okay? I've been a douchebag since I've returned. I'm more than a man enough to admit it. I have. But without me doing what I did, I wouldn't have this title.
But could you make, from your vantage point, this is your vantage point, could you make the point, though, that you're the guy that's carrying the shoulders of the Alliance Wrestling. You're the guy that's gone out there and wrestled 6 times, something like that, in the 10 episodes so far. And so we're talking about in 2.5 months, you've been out there several times. Again, we spoke about this the first time you've been on the show. How many world champions right now in the yard are defending their title or wrestling as much as you are? I mean, I really couldn't come up with an answer. But guys show up once a month, they show up twice a month, and maybe every other month. In some cases, some guys basically book themselves the champion, then they decide maybe they'll defend it next year. But you're what you'd call a working class champion. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there.
I appreciate the kind
I
words.
call him a blue collar champion.
You could do that as well. But, I have a comment, gentlemen. And I actually have a comment here from Christopher James, ADT, the man that cost you this match that we just saw.
Of course, he interjects himself again.
And by the way, you can watch the Alliance Wrestling League's episode 10 and all of their shows on YouTube at Alliance Wrestling League. You can also follow ADT on Instagram at ADT_is_BYW. You can follow Dylan Andrews, _original_Dylan Andrews, Alliance_wrestling_league on Instagram as well. So make sure you support those great companies, these great guests. But Mr. James has responded. He says, I was studying ADT. I was watching film. You shouldn't have tried to cheat. You should have done what we all know you can. Champ, your reaction.
Okay, but here's the thing. It wasn't your match. You weren't scheduled to be on the show. You weren't supposed to be in the backstage. So what made you think in your mind, okay, Tyson Gates is probably going to get what was coming to him. I need to intervene and save his ass from learning the lesson the hard way. It's not about what I can and can't do. We already know what I can do. We've already seen it. We've seen it for these past 10 weeks. Okay, I don't like to talk about my resume that much on this show anymore, but nonetheless, the last 10 weeks have really played out exactly how I said they were going to from day one.
I don't know if you're a psychic.
So,
I'll give you that, and I said it a few minutes ago, and I said it the first time you were on here. I mean, name me a champion that has wrestled as many times as you have had this summer. I mean, there are guys that are champions in rival promotions. They wrestle, once a month, once every few months, and they proclaim they're the greatest. You, on the other hand, are wrestling pretty much almost every week.
Damn near. But back to Christopher James, studying me you should do, but also at the same time, we grew up together. All right, we trained together. We have literally started from the ground up and just have continuously evolved. You've watched it firsthand. You've experienced it. If anyone else should know me as well as Dylan Andrew does, it would be Christopher James. That's why I'm still, I apologize. It's not the drinks. It's not the, constant hits to the head I got this morning. But nonetheless, it's very odd to me that, number one, it's very rare that I show respect right out the jump. But I have already wrestled Christopher James. I've already beaten Christopher James, too, if you want to go watch that, episode 1. But, I'm just very shocked because I started respectfully. I told him it was nothing but respect. It's nothing but business. And then he wants to interject himself. And to me, that's just very disrespectful. And we already know how disrespect plays out in this scenario.
You have a follow-up on from your vantage point, Dylan Andrews, the war criminal. You are a war criminal. So I'd be kind of curious what you think about Mr. James's comment.
Disrespectfully, stay the fuck out of the way. Disrespectfully. Do not be where you're not supposed to be. That goes for Christopher James. That goes for Tyson Gates. That goes for AJ Morgan. Stay out of the way.
Do we want to throw Hacksaw in there too? This new Hacksaw.
He's obviously a part of the roster now too. I mean, what do you guys make of him now? I mean, obviously now he's going to be.
It's nice to know that AWL finally has a Eugene. So that's nice to know.
I don't know who Hacksaw. I've never met Hacksaw, so I don't know.
So do you want to meet him in the locker room, or you have no really?
I guarantee you he don't want to meet us.
I
guarantee it.
I probably saw him. I don't pay attention. I
thought
listen,
he was a janitor at first glance.
really.
Well,
Like,
all right. Well, Hacksaw Brown is obviously the newest member of the AWL, and I guess we'll see sooner rather than later.
Apparently, I guess Tilly's just walking around the streets.
we're picking up homeless on the street.
Yeah, I guess so.
I thought that was another company that was doing that, where a good guy was wrestling, cameraman, and homeless guys. I thought we were different here in the AWL. I mean,
apparently not. Ever since Hillbilly took over, it's been going downhill. I don't know what the hell's going. I had respect for Hillbilly last time we were here.
I mean, really though, like what kind of a man has to interject himself right before the finish of the match? I mean.
If there was a friendship, it certainly is a bizarre take. Mr. James has responded, so I'd like to play his comment for the both of you to get a reaction, if you don't mind. ADT, I'm big on respect in caps lock. Tyson didn't do anything to deserve what was about to happen. I'm glad I was there. I'm glad I was there to stop you.
And I bet you he's glad that you were there because he knew exactly what was about to happen. I mean, hell, we all saw. Unfortunately, I had to make the example out of AJ Morgan, and now his brother is continuing what I guess we're just making up for lack of parenting. No offense, but we gotta make sure that these kids know what the fuck happens when you try to step up to the plate. Christopher James, I'm really trying here to not say anything negative because I still do respect him. I still do respect him. And I'm trying to keep my hands off of this little. I'm trying to keep my hands off of him until September 16th. I don't want there to be no excuses. That's why.
We're just 3 weeks away, though. But this is just bizarre. I mean, you have a thought on that? The war criminal. You're a war criminal, so I'm sure you're not going to agree much with this comment from Mr. James.
Nope. I don't think Christopher should have been there. It's none of your business. You're not Tyson's keeper. It's none of your business. Stay out of the way.
Let me ask you guys a follow-up on Tyson Gates, and maybe this is more directed at the champion, but Tyson Gates gets this win. For whatever you want to call it, he wins this match. I mean, where does this mean for the future of Tyson Gates then?
Oh, it's huge. Let's put this. I said last week, ADT makes another star. I didn't think it was going to happen like this. Did not think it was going to happen like this.
No, listen, nobody did.
Unfortunately, now I have a loss to my name by a guy who is, hell, he's barely breaking even in AWL. So, but unfortunately for him, that one win he has over the most reputable name in the Alliance Wrestling League has an asterisk next to it.
No, listen, I have said this, and I'll continue to say it. I put you up there at the top of the food chain in the whole backyard scene based on your size, your ability, your strength, your looks. And I said it then, and it continues. So obviously he gets this win, and certainly, he's going to obviously use this as a huge feather to his cap. But I also want to say hello to somebody from California who's out there watching one of our friends' companies. That is Mr. Skulls, the Soul Hunter. He is saying hello from the West Coast Wrestling Company. They have a big show out there in Hemet, California. So I say hello to Skulls. And speaking of somebody also as a fellow champion, Craven Rage, who's back Thursday, says hello, Mr. Tom Bryce, the best radio show host, and hello, Mr. ADT. Congratulations on staying on top of the mountain. As champion, just take no prisoners and keep domination. Well, all right. Well, that's certainly the plan, obviously, from one champion to another. But we are on Sportswire Radio, and we're trying to figure out here the future of ADT, our reigning, defending Alliance Wrestling League champion of the world, and the war criminal, the original Dylan Andrews. Because if you were following episode 10 today, you certainly know that these two gentlemen were very, very busy men. Obviously, the war criminal we are going to see in the first ever premium show, the 16th of September, in a rematch for what this might be against his brother, AJ Morgan, and our champion, who is now going to be in a backyard rules match against Christopher James, the man that cost ADT a win in a non-title match. So we're trying to parcel all of that out there. And please follow our friends at the Alliance Wrestling League and watch the show on YouTube at the Alliance Wrestling League. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, and I will be back actually tomorrow night with more coverage in the first of a few announcements, because I am going to be back live 8:30 p.m. Eastern time with another wrestler from Alabama who has a big announcement about his future plans. That is the Nemesis James Taylor, who has declared, if you followed his Instagram, that he is now a free agent. So who knows what that means, especially if you are here in Alabama. The Nemesis is going to talk about that, plus who knows what else is on his mind. I will also be back here Monday, not once but twice. I'll be back here first at 1 p.m. Eastern time with Justin Parsley, who just defeated the owner of XCW Shelbyville in SummerMania 18 that just took place this Thursday. Fletch, who was on the show a few weeks ago, and Justin Parsley is going to talk about where he goes from here and how big of a win this was. A 20-year rivalry that all came to fruition at SummerMania 18, and he got a huge, huge victory, and it's a personal one, and we're going to talk about that. Obviously, the XCW situation is really chaotic right now because the way the show ended, and obviously Fletch's loss to Justin Parsley. We're going to talk about that. You can follow Justin Parsley on Instagram and all of the other socials at PARS Sleaze. That's Parsley. So check that out, 1 p.m. Eastern time. I'll be back 4:30 p.m. Eastern time with the new Greek Wrestling Association champion, the Shadow Gauge Jay Gaz. He's going to talk about his huge win, winning the title, plus the future of where he goes from here. And also, I got to give a couple of happy birthday wishes here so we can kind of break the scene here a little bit for a second. I got to give a huge happy birthday wish today, first of all, to one of my biggest supporters who has been really with Sportswire Radio almost since the beginning. That is the head coach of the Five Town Sound men's soccer team. That is Jason Facina. Of course, Coach Facina had a decorated career at Malloy College at the soccer team there, led them to the NCAA tournament. Also was the coach of the women's soccer team at Five Towns for the past few years. He's also the assistant athletic director here at Five Towns. So Coach Facina, I cannot thank you enough for all of your support over the past few years. I can't wait to get you back on. I know the season has just taken place and we're getting ready for it. Exhibition games have started. The regular season starts later this week, and Coach Facina got a huge win over my alma mater, John Jay College, in a scrimmage game. So the guys are getting ready for a huge season ahead. So Coach Facina, thank you for all of your support over the past few years. You can follow Jason Facina and the Five Town Sound men's soccer team at FTC Men's Soccer, also Five Towns _Sound on Instagram, also Coach Facina on Instagram. And also another happy birthday wish to somebody who's also named Jason, who's been on Sportswire Radio 5 times. He is also a coach at Malloy as well. He's the assistant coach for the men's basketball team. That is Mr. Coach Jason Gordieso. Mr. Gordieso, as Coach D is lovingly referred, was on the show a few weeks ago, and I have to give Coach Gordieso a huge happy birthday. I won't say his age on the air. He's a little older than us, but we're only kidding. We love Coach Gordieso. He's been one of our biggest champions, one of our biggest supporters. He has done a lot. I've covered him when he was in the CUNY Athletic Conference over at CCNY. I've also covered him at SJLI Long Island now. He has moved a little bit closer here to my neck of the woods at Malloy. But, Coach, happy birthday, happy belated birthday. Thank you for all of your support. We give 2 birthday wishes and 1 to 2 Jasons. But right now, we are having a great time here with Dylan Andrews and ADT. And, guys, I got another comment here from Mr. James, so let's get right to it. Dylan Andrews, of all people you should know, no man left behind. As for you, ADT, I still respect you and your game. Gentlemen, your reactions.
You're not a team. You're not teamed up with Tyson. That you're not a part of a squad. You don't know what it's like over there. That you are your team. It's only you. So you're the man that's being left behind because you're putting yourself in somebody else's business. You're sticking your neck out there for someone else when you don't need to. That's on you. Whatever ADT does to you from here on out, it is on you. That's all I got.
Champ, you want to respond?
I mean, I think Dylan Andrews kind of covered it all right there. I mean, if anyone if anyone should know about No Man Left Behind, it's definitely him.
Fair point. Fair play.
And like he said, they're not a team. It'd be different if, say, AJ Morgan came out and attacked Dylan Andrews, which we all know he's not stupid enough to do that. But
he's stupid enough to keep on taking matches.
Yes, he is stupid enough for that.
I still don't get. I don't understand the strategy there.
Me either.
Yeah. the point here is though, like I get it, there's some respect there, but also at the end of the day, he did beat him once. Let's just not sweep that one under the rug. And hell, technically, if it was a normal one-on-one match, Tyson Gates would have beat him again in the 2 out of 3 falls. So it is what it is. I really could care less. I'm trying to be as nice as I can to Christopher until September 16th, where it's whatever I do to him, it's just business.
Not me, disrespectfully. Stay the fuck out of the way.
Yeah.
I'm not here to be anybody's friend.
All right, let me ask you guys. All right, tell me your thoughts on this. I want to ask you guys a follow-up on this. Let's say, hypothetically, if the shoe was on the other foot and both of you guys were in the opposite position, would you have done the same things that Morgan and certainly James did today? I mean, ADT, would you have done what James did today? And conversely, the war criminal Dylan Andrews, would you have had, I guess, how can I put it in a nice way, the bravado to kind of challenge somebody after what they've been put through? So I'll ask you guys that question.
You want to go first, or do I need to address it?
I'll go first. I'll go first. So it's far-fetched. Picture this. I'm a bitch, right? Far-fetched, I know. I know.
No, I'm sorry.
But if I was put in a position where I had to choose between the integrity of a match and protecting an acquaintance, I choose the integrity of a match. The Army is brought up on integrity. That's all I know. That is all I know. Integrity. If they put themselves in that position, you let them live with their mistake. If ADT puts himself in a position to be beat up, since I have no other words to cover that is PG, to be beat up, it is on him to get himself out of that situation. Bottom line.
ADT, is it fair for me to say that really right now that almost nobody on the roster could really like beat you up, and that the only way you really have been down is if something kind of happens behind your back? Is that a fair statement for me to make?
There's one exception to the rule, and it's the other man that's in this call with us, right?
Well, I said most of the roster. If you heard the word most of the roster, was my point. Was that the other guys on the roster? I mean, I'm gonna not count Hacksaw. Just came to the company.
You're looking at number 1 and number 2 right here. Like
I got that. No, I got it.
And it's more neutral. It's like we share number 1, except one has a title, but he's already said he doesn't. He said he doesn't care about the title, so
I don't.
It doesn't really. If anyone's gonna hold it, it might as well be me. So But no, I do not see. I mean, let's look at it. I've out of the 5 now since Country's out, and hell, apparently there's more according to Tilly, as he's told me. Tried to tell me to keep my eyes peeled of some sorts. So I'd imagine amongst Hacksaw, there's going to be a couple other talents that get revealed here soon, but. I've already beat Christopher James.
Can I just respectfully cut in? Did you just say that there'll be more names announced very soon? Did I just hear that correct?
From my understanding, from what my boss told me, boss, I say that very loosely. I don't know who the hell I'm actually reporting to at this point in time. I don't know if it's Sky or Sky's bitch, but, it could just be. But, I heard Hacksaw. I saw 3 to 4 other new faces in the back the other day that I tried to throw my bag at and tell them where to put it, but they didn't, they just kind of looked at me weird. So I'm assuming those ain't, bellhops. But my point here is, they're
not janitors either. They won't clean up my beer.
Yeah, no. I mean, he makes a lot of messes, but the point here is getting back to your question, Tom, getting carried away. There is no one. There is no one that is ever going to smack me around in the alliance.
I have another comment from Mr. James.
Of course you do, because all he does is talk.
I'm going to come back to Mr. James in a second.
If only he was this vocal on the episodes. I mean, shit.
I know.
what have I heard? A grand total of like 2 minutes so far, maybe 2.5 at most in the 10 episodes. But
That's pushing it.
I was
That's
trying to
pushing
be
it.
kind. I listen. I think like I said, I think it was proven that I've seen more action tonight on Sportswire than what I saw in Liam Nielsen in Retribution, because it was kind of like you were waiting for that moment, you were waiting for it, then they got to it, and it was like, oh, that was what happened. But that's here nor there. I don't want to spoil the movie, but you said more names, and you kind of said you don't know, you work for them. So I'm curious from your guys' vantage point, knowing that there's going to be a bigger locker room soon. I don't know how soon that'll be. I'm sure.
Well, it needs to be bigger because I'm a big guy. Like, we
I
need to
got
upgrade
that.
that some bitch.
I don't know if it means more showers, more bathroom doors. I don't know what that means. More lockers.
I'm not sacrificing my locker room. Let's just go ahead and get that straight right now.
Well, right. So what I was trying to come across as is that more names are coming to the roster. How does that change, or maybe, how can I say it? Maybe reflect your mindset going into your respective matches at Retribution, that the roster is going to expand of people that you don't know for all intensive purposes.
Well, it for one thing is competition is always a good thing. It's always healthy to keep people in there. Like you said, I'm a fighting champion. I do not really back down. And I say do not really. I have not backed down from a challenge yet. And, one of the things I started saying in the first time we talked was, AWL, my whole goal is to make it a place where people want to be. Whether, you have people coming here to us or, whether we homegrown talent now. It's not anything that I'm too shocked at. I knew as soon as, as long as I did what I had to do, play my part, everything will fall into place. It's fun that, Tilly is going to line me up a lot more victims. That's fine. I mean, you got to keep the beast fed, but, honestly, at this point, I feel like, we're just kind of giving more and more random people jobs here. But
you don't know who these people are. I mean,
and I could be wrong. I mean, but first impressions are everything. I walk into a locker room, heads turn immediately. Dylan Andrew walks in, everyone's head turns immediately.
Well, everybody runs away.
Exactly.
I would run away too. And watching again on Alliance Wrestling League on YouTube is where you can watch all the shows, and especially episode 10, episodes 1 through 10. I mean, you guys do have that larger than life persona, but we don't know who these people are that are coming in. I mean, who knows who Tilly has picked out? I mean, there could be some of the biggest names in this sport that Tilly might have picked out. I don't know. I just don't know. That's why I was curious your reactions on this. I think this is a major topic here right now.
Or it could be a bunch of old HCW alumni that nobody fucking knows or gives a shit about. But
so are you saying that
we're not going to talk about that?
Are you saying conversely?
No, they all knew what happened when I was 9 years old. They don't want to deal with me now at 22. We already established
my point
that.
Was going to be: Are you saying that maybe that we're going to see almost where these dinosaurs to come in, that they basically once roamed the earth, and you're going to basically put
wipe
them
the fucking floor with them? Yeah, take them out to pasture.
Be the meteor that hits the earth.
Yes,
and
take them out to pasture.
Of them?
Do the whole old Yeller treatment to them. No, see, that's the thing. I know Tilly is he's a bit out there, but I don't think he's that. I'm just gonna say it. I don't think he's that stupid to actually bring in some of his former colleagues, some of my former colleagues from HCW. That's really not what we're here to do.
But are you concerned that he could maybe figure out a way to spend company money and maybe land a big fish that could maybe go toe to toe with either one of you guys? Do you think that's a possibility?
I ain't scared of fucking nobody.
No, I think
and you shouldn't be. You're the champion. You shouldn't be. I mean,
I think Hillbilly likes the money in his pocket. I think he's going to be bringing in new blood.
So you don't think he's going to be Eric Bischoff and spend Sky's money?
No, we're not getting a lot of outsiders. No. Let's go ahead and say that because I mean,
no, he's bringing in new blood, and yeah. I accept new blood because like a shark in the water, I smell blood.
It's fresh.
Okay, so you smell blood regardless. So basically, point is, whoever Tilly's got under his cap,
line him up.
Okay,
Line 'em up.
And that's
Line
the
'em
point.
up.
Okay, fair. Now let me come back to Mr. James because he had a comment a few minutes ago, which I'd like to play on the screen for you guys. You want to talk about losing if it's just one fall. ADT, you would have lost to AJ twice. That's fine. He made you tap and he pinned you.
Just one fall. I beat him. I beat him in the semifinals to get this. See, that's the thing. We can talk about insults all day. Yeah, sure. I've said it. I said it last time I was on here. Nobody listens to me. I told y'all I gave him 3 minutes to do what he wanted. Then, Andrew, tell me who dominated that match after the 3-minute mark.
ADT.
ADT.
Tell me.
You were down 2-0, but you won.
Exactly. Came back.
Exactly.
Turned to, I mean, hell, he blew it harder than the damn Atlanta Braves. But
Harder than the Atlanta Falcons.
I'm a Mets
Falcons,
fan.
too.
I can't talk. So
yeah, well, I mean, I think that I'm a little dated on my sports references, as Dylan always tends to remind me.
the
So
Falcons is a sort of good one. The Braves did win a World Series a couple of years
yeah, I
ago.
know. I just kind of thought about that.
I'll give you
Okay,
that one.
I'm man
Yeah.
enough to admit that. But my point here is that Christopher James just can't fucking hang, and he wants to bring up the fact that I got pinned and submitted by AJ, but then he fails to remember that I also in that same match pinned him twice, made him tap out to a very shitty sharpshooter, which I'm man enough to admit to on that as well. But nothing changed. Got the title, kept the title. I've beaten him, twice. I've beaten Christopher James, and I would have fucking beaten Tyson Gates if it wasn't for Christopher James.
And I think the point that we made the first time you were on the show is what you had to go through to win the championship and the different stipulations that you had to go through and the amount of opponents. So I think that there's a point being objective for a moment, not taking a side. If you would, again, and this is what I can't stress this enough when I watch Alliance Wrestling League TV, which again is on YouTube, Alliance Wrestling League, very simple, put it in. You can watch these shows like I do. And you have had to run through the gauntlet as a champion. You weren't a guy that was like, oh, okay, I'm going to be the champion and they're going to put me in with a couple people and I'm going to win it over 6 months. And the handpicked. No, you went through the ringer here to get this title. And Dylan Andrews is no slouch either. You've clearly, the both of you, when you're in there, and especially you, ADT, what you had to do to get that championship. I mean, there's no taking away or no denying your in-ring abilities here. So there's no question about that. But let me ask you guys a question here. We're coming up toward last, I'd say 20 or so minutes from the show. And I don't know what you guys have thought about this yet or process this. So tell me your thoughts. Obviously, September the 16th, Retribution, we know is going to be the biggest show in the company's history. It's almost like the last big show of the summer. You might think about it in some ways. Summer is almost over, which is kind of sad in a number of different ways, but we'll talk about that another time. But this is the biggest show in the company's history. This is the premium show, the first one. It's the brightest stage. You said ADT is the first impression that people are going to remember. This is going to be the show that maybe the casual fan who hasn't watched every AWL show is going to see, or maybe people are hearing about AWL because we talk about it on Sportswire and they go out on YouTube and go to Alliance Wrestling and watch that. So for you guys, knowing that your matches here are going to be what they are, premium show, first ever one in the company's history, do you feel like that this is the moment where once and for all, you have to put these guys out to pasture and prove a point that you guys are the big dogs here and you're going to remain the big dogs here in the biggest show in the company's history?
Which one first?
Anybody
you want to do nose goes for it? You want to do nose goes? Oh, fuck. All right. So, yeah, we're still childish. It's okay. But yeah, September 16th, Retribution, AWL's first ever premium event. Dylan Andrews and AJ. I hate saying his name. It's almost like
forgot his name.
Yeah,
always Jobbing Morgan.
Always Jobbing Morgan. He tried to say main event Morgan, but that shit really didn't catch on that quick, especially when you can only cut a 30-second promo. But nonetheless, they are opening the show. So the first impression is they are going to see a war criminal beat the ever-living shit out of
a bitch.
I'm trying to find nicer words because me and you
I'm not.
talk backstage, and there's a lot of stuff that we could just air out on here, but we don't want to. So,
Okay.
but
I respect
that is going to be the first match of the night. They're going to open it up. I'm sure we're going to see history repeat itself once again. The original will do his thing as he has been for the past 13 years, whether it's in a backyard, overseas in a prison, or back in the backyard again. Me versus Christopher James. I think we put the entire backyard wrestling scene on notice. We don't need a damn ring to do it. We don't need to rip off.
No, you know what? You guys don't. I tell you what, I actually kind of like what you guys have more than some who have the trampolines. I just, for whatever reason, it's easier on the eyes. I don't know why, but that's what I think.
We don't need a ring. We don't need to copy our favorite wrestlers on TV. We don't need to, try to oversell ourselves. We are what you see is what you get, and then some.
This is where the big boys play. This is where the big boys play figuratively and literally in the Alliance Wrestling League.
And not to stroke the ego here of the Alliance Wrestling League, but the people that we have behind the scenes too, like the people who do the graphics, the people who do, deal with the the insufferableness of myself, Dylan Andrews, and the others.
Sure,
I'm not gonna name them by name. Nobody gives a shit.
No need. But, we don't need to go down that road.
Yeah, no, we don't need to go all the way down that. But the point here is like production value wise, there is nothing close to AWL in my opinion.
Yeah, I would definitely say if up and coming, and I cover a lot of wrestling companies, I would say that you guys definitely, whoever puts this stuff together does a phenomenal job in the packaging. I think your obviously music, your commentary, there is certainly a very almost, how can I put it in a way, like Crash TV, what Vince Russo did years back in WCW, that just fast pace. I think that's why it's so easy on the eye. So from that standpoint, I wholeheartedly agree.
But to bounce back to Retribution, to cut the shit, if you will, gentlemen, it is a very big opportunity. I get to share the backyard with someone who I respect, even though he has made some very concerning decisions here recently.
Sure.
I get to be the guy that really kind of keeps pushing the stick farther and farther, or keep moving the goalpost farther and farther, since college football's around.
I did see week 1 today. Yes, week 1 has started.
Yeah, and since, everyone else gets to steal lines from people, I'll steal one from the American roller coaster. But every time that goalpost moves, I feel like, I keep hitting it right down the middle. And, come September 16th, I'm very confident that I will keep this title over my shoulders. But also at the same time, it's not going to be easy. I mean, everything that I get to hit him with, he gets to hit me with. Anything that, I do, he can do. It's just a matter of who's going to do it better, who's going to do it faster. And I'm looking forward to, I would like to say, getting my hands back on Christopher James again. But I've already done it in this rerun of AWL. So, I already know how it's going to work out. And then, hell, you give me all this stuff that I can, I can throw a chair at them. I can use a ladder against them. I can use a trash can against them.
And your body's a weapon already to begin with. So the fact that you have all these tools at your disposal, I mean...
I'm double his size on top of that. I mean, he's 140 pounds. I'm 240. Let's just go and say that.
Yeah.
But, he, at the end of the day, it's nothing but respect, but also at the same time, I'm not walking in there to be friends with him. I'm walking in there to keep this title on my shoulders by any means necessary.
I could certainly see that. And for you, the war criminal, Dylan Andrews, obviously kind of the same question. And I'm curious, what you think here, being and this is the biggest spotlight in the company's history. And what do you feel? And just maybe kind of the added spotlight here.
Well, number one, with me and AJ open up the show, it's going to be a treat for people that are into blood and gore. I am going to destroy AJ one that he cannot come back from this go around. I have failed to put him out to pasture. And I'm going to right my wrongs and take care of business this go around on the biggest show that AWL has ever put on. Second off, Christopher James, he's not winning. Bottom line, he's not coming away with it with the belt. It's going to be ADT. ADT is a force to be reckoned with, just like I am. Christopher James, you have no hope. You need to run, just like I have told AJ to run. You need to run. Bottom line, I am the killer of AWL. ADT is a close second. I am trained. He is not.
I'll tell you this much. You said something very interesting, how Mr. Morgan should run. Well, in Retribution, in that movie, the people that ran, they got blown up. So if Mr. Morgan doesn't run, he's getting blown up by the original war criminal, Dylan
One
Andrews.
way or the other, he is blowing the fuck up, and not in a good way.
Yeah,
well, I'll tell you one thing. He's not getting views.
He's not getting
Absolutely
views.
Not.
He's not blown up that way. The only reason our match has gotten as many views as it has is because my name is in the title. That bottom line.
No. I think there's a point. There's a very valid point that if you think about the views in the match, there's no question that your name certainly speaks for itself. I mean, there's certainly, you think about the amount of eyeballs that saw that match, and you think about even the amount of eyeballs that saw the Last Man Standing match with AJ Morgan and ADT. We're talking, that's all ADT putting.
Let's go ahead and say ADT. It's just ADT, and it's been that way. Let's go ahead and break it down real quick since we're talking numbers. I'm a numbers guy, It is what it is. So there's about,
no one's keeping count.
Yeah, no one's keeping count or anything, but 4,500 views in the first month and a half, and out of that, ADT has 2K of that. So literally almost half of it. I'm not saying anything, but
well, at the start of it, somebody was in prison. Okay,
it could just be that I had I could have had a head start. It's okay, but let's be honest. The only reason let's look at the fucking promo that nobody watched. Exactly, nobody knew what his promo was. So that's what I'm saying. The only reason anyone knows who AJ Morgan is because of Dylan Andrews' name or ADT's name.
And well, listen, your match with him specifically, Last Man Standing, got what, a quarter or a fifth of the total views in the company's history? I mean, that's really your work. I mean, think about that. I mean, your match with him got another few hundred. So you're talking about right off the bat, the two people here.
And if you look at his standalone promo,
who's counting,
If you look at a standalone promo, it's got less than 100 views because he doesn't draw views. His name doesn't draw views. His character doesn't draw views. He himself is just not interesting.
Well, I mean, hell, my 2.5 minute promo still got more than most of his matches.
Right, and I think, listen, they're in this business, in the yard, we look at matches that what the viewership is, what the ratings are. And we look at it, and some wrestlers are warranted to be where they are in this sport, and others, not so much. So you can make the case if you're going based on the ratings. The ratings are ADT and Dylan Andrews. Everybody else in the Alliance Wrestling League, I'm not so sure. But Mr. James would like to respond. I'm walking to take the two cockiest MFs off the top spot to show everyone else who's really the king of the yard. As for Dylan Andrews, AJ coming to do the same thing that I'm coming to do.
Okay.
All right, hold on.
Wait. Came up on Sportzwire. Here we go.
Wait a second. Hold on. Christopher must be drinking, and he must be a lightweight because he can't handle these things right here. Because that is the dumbest fucking thing I have ever read in my entire life.
Yeah, so
let's
the king of the yard. Right. Okay. So first things first, where's your crown? Okay. You have an imaginary crown. Thirdly, do you have any gold on you? No. My wrist has more gold on it than Christopher James's waist will ever have on it. Hell, my face with these Louis Vuitton sunglasses had more gold on it than Christopher James will ever have on him in the Alliance Wrestling League. Hell, he might as well just go see if HCW is willing to reboot it and try to become a champion there. But we ain't going to talk about that because business is going to have to get done September 16th. King of the Yard. Oh my God. And he wants to call us cocky. Okay. You earned the name, the original Dylan Andrews, war criminal Dylan Andrews, just like I earned AWL heavyweight champ. I don't need a fucking nickname to prove who I am. I do not. This just comes with it. This is attached to my name, as it has been for the past 13 years. Unfortunately, can't really talk about the other 13 years. People don't like that, apparently.
We don't need to talk about the other 13. I've seen what I've seen in the last 2 months.
It only matters of it.
The last 2 months, I think more eyeballs have seen what you've done than in those 13 years prior, and they're seeing right now that you're the reigning, defending Alliance Wrestling League champion, and they're going to see you in a backyard rules match on the 16th of September. We're going to see the war criminal, the original Dylan Andrews, in a match where he very well may finally put his brother, AJ Morgan, to pasture in the ground. This could be the moment. If you thought what happened last week, which again, I can't stress enough, you want to go to Alliance Wrestling League on YouTube and watch Alliance_Wrestling_League on Instagram to find out more information and see what the original Dylan Andrews did. If you want to see ADT's reign of terror so far and what he's done in his destruction and relive it, just keep going on that YouTube page. Go to ADT_is_BYW and find out why he has been one of these guys that I have said who is at the top of the mountain now. You know, we had one guy who basically exited stage left. We've talked about who could replace him. Look at the size of this man, ladies and gentlemen. This is somebody that very well could be at the top of this sport, not just in the Alliance Wrestling League, but for 10, 15, 20, 25 years ahead. And Dylan Andrews is the war criminal. He's a war criminal. There is no other war criminal in this sport right now that is as dominant, is as active, and is ready. And we've got a new locker room of talent coming in here. And I would certainly say if you're coming in and Hillbilly Tilly has offered you a contract, you may want to reevaluate your positions in coming into this locker room if you get these gentlemen and you catch them on the wrong side of the bed. That's all I'm saying. I'm just calling it down the line. Mr. James would like to say that my necklace has more gold than that fake watch and then stolen sunglasses.
Daddy buy that for you?
You mean the one that when I chopped you, it left a fucking imprint in your fucking chest for 2 weeks? You want to talk about that? Yeah, let's not talk about who has more gold, okay? Because we can quickly end that one right now. But, you know, war criminal over there done stole a couple bricks for me. Thank you.
I mean, war criminal speaks for itself. I mean, how many people do we know? Think about this, right? How many people do we know who are a war criminal? Look at the size of this man. Look at the tattoos. Look at the glasses. Look at the beard. Would you really want to be in the ring, the yard, whatever you want to call it with this man? I mean, AJ Morgan, he's got a lot of courage. He's got a lot of heart, but I don't know if he's got the right.
I don't know if you would call it courage. I think it's just pure stupidity. What I would say he's lacking in right now is this, because common sense is not that common right now, Tom. It's very few and far between, especially.
I'm not so sure here. We're gonna find out. I'll tell you that much here. But you know, before we get to closing thoughts here, gentlemen, as I always do here on Sportswire, for now, I want to give you guys the opportunity to address your opponents coming up 3 weeks from now at the biggest show in the Alliance Wrestling League's history, that is Retribution, which I cannot stress enough. I promise you will deliver far more Retribution than the movie that is out playing now in select movie theaters. And I'm not trying to pile on this movie. It just really didn't have that much Retribution.
Poor Liam Neeson.
Yeah, you know, he's a great actor, but this movie was really was forgettable. But, you know, enough about that. Let's come to the Alliance Wrestling. So I want to go with the war criminal, the original Dylan Andrews first. I want to give you the opportunity to say anything you want to your brother before we see you guys in that yard 21 days from now. What do you want to say to him?
What are you thinking? What do you think is going to be the outcome of this? I've already planted your face in that mat twice so far. I've already kicked your. I almost kicked your head off.
What too?
Twice. What do you think is going to happen, AJ? What what is your mindset? I don't know what your mindset is. You should be limping away from this instead of running headfirst into this. I don't know what is wrong with you. But come retribution, you are going to learn your lesson. I'm going to get my retribution and end the family disgrace once and for all.
Oh, well, you know what? Like I said, I have a feeling that, again, in the movie Retribution, the people, if they ran out of the car, ran out of what the person wanted, they got blown up. In this case, Mr. Morgan, he's running to be blown up if he's going to be in a fight with the war criminal, Dylan Andrews, who you can follow also on Instagram at _original_Dylan Andrews. And before I get to the champion, I want to say hello to my guest Wednesday night, who's up all the way at 1 o'clock in the morning in the UK. Another big guy, another big man, fitting right nicely with you guys. That is the Big Cheese himself, the Tribal Cheese. And of course, the Big Cheese Logan's going to be here at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, 8 o'clock British Standard Time. And he just made one of the biggest surprise entrances or returns or whatever you want to call it in CCW, Cutlery Championship Wrestling. This was one that nobody saw coming here. And the Tribal Cheese, who I definitely acknowledge. I acknowledge Bree is going to be, he's got a lot to say. He's going to talk about his upcoming shows. We're going to see him with the legendary Marty Jones Squared Circle, who was involved with the world of sport, just a legendary figure in UK wrestling. So many people looked up to him, like the British Bulldog, William Regal. I mean, this is a really big deal. We're going to get the Big Cheese right before that. Plus, his match, which we're promoting here on Sportswire Radio with Joel Cobra, September the 30th in GT Ministry, and also the Big Cheese will be back at CCW as well 2 weeks from now. So he says hello here. He's also, I don't know how he's still up, but thank you to the Big Cheese. Follow the Big Cheese on YouTube, by the way, at Mad Manx. He's almost got 1,000 subscribers. He's also on Instagram at Big Cheese Logan. Make sure you support him. He's one of our favorites all time. But the champ, I want to give you the opportunity before we get to closing thoughts and anything that you want to say to this supposed king of the yard, Christopher James, the man that certainly I know you can have a lot of payback for, coming back and maybe a lot more retribution for 3 weeks from now here. And I give you the opportunity to say anything you want to him before September the 16th.
Bear with me here because we all know how long-winded I am. So I was scrolling through some memories, some old photos the other day, and I found this photo of me and a kid wearing blue striped sweatpants in a backyard on a trampoline with ropes around it, posts around it. And it was me and Christopher James. Now, that picture was taken damn near 13 years ago. And there's one constant that has been going on in my life, and that is ADT versus Christopher James for the AWL Championship. Whether it's the AWL Championship or the AWL Heavyweight Championship, somehow me and that boy always line up to face each other for some gold. Christopher knows I love him like a brother. He knows that. He knows there's respect there, even if sometimes he is just too stupid and he tries to be, all high and holy all the damn time. September 16th, AWL's first ever premium event, Retribution. I am not apologizing for what I'm going to do to you. Like I said about Tyson Gates, sometimes you just have to learn the lesson the hard way. And apparently, you didn't. Apparently, your dad didn't bend you over his knee enough times, which he always comes up a little short on that. We always know. But I'm not going to blame your parenting. I'm not going to blame how you were raised. I think, simply put, you just have to learn respect the hard way. And unfortunately, you have to deal with me. I try to be nice, especially on here too, because there's an image I have to protect as far as AWO. Because I am AWO. I said it earlier this afternoon, and I'm saying it again. I believe it wholeheartedly when I have this title over my shoulder. Or hell, if you take it off of me tomorrow, I will still be the talk around the town when it regards to AWL. Christopher James, I'm so sorry that you had to wait 20 years to get this ass whooping. but I'm going to make sure that I do what you didn't do, and that is finish the job. You want to interfere in my match? That's fine. You want to be the reason why I have my first loss, but it wasn't yours? Go ahead. That's fine. I said no excuses. No more bullshit. Me, you, the Alliance backyard, once for all. It might not even be for all because we all, like I said, the one constant is always facing this kid, it seems. But we already know what the result's going to be. It's been 11 weeks now,
Yep.
give or take. I'm not good with days on that, so I'm just going to assume it's over 30 for sure.
He's taking too many hits to the head, Tom.
Yeah,
It's okay.
yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah,
I'm not going to argue with the champion. I'm certainly not going to do that.
It happens,
No.
you know?
Not speaking out against him. No, absolutely not.
Yeah, you know. But my point here is that I've held this title for a while. It's very comfortable on my shoulder. It sits very nice on my shoulder. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. I hate to cut the fairy tale, you know, the uprise for Christopher James, you know, him finally getting his first couple wins, you know, I mean, we had to bring a fucking jobber in here to get him a win, but, you know, finally getting his win where it didn't count. And then now he has to face I don't like giving my name or, you know, nicknames out here, but facing me.
To put it in football terms, this isn't an Eli Manning story where he comes up and beats a big bad Tom Brady. This is Ryan Fitzpatrick. Christopher James is Ryan Fitzpatrick, who got his ass whooped by Tom Brady nonstop.
That's a good analogy. I had him here with the Jets, and he the biggest moment
nonstop.
He delivered nothing. Yeah.
But my point here is that, you know, like I said, I'm sorry it took so long to get to it, but I had to kind of get that out of the way because at the end of the day, it is just business. But after what Christopher James just did, you know, I'm always lining up the scope for someone. Sure. And once they're in the sights, it's fucking kill shots all day. I don't miss. I do not miss.
Whoa. To piggyback off that, and these are my closing thoughts. I know, Tom, you're big on the closing thoughts. These are my closing thoughts.
Well, I didn't get to him yet, but
I know. I'm jumping ahead. I got you.
He's doing it prematurely.
Look, hey, if I see a shot, I take it. Right. So,
right, I give you that.
So here's the skinny on this. Okay.
Okay.
So
talk to me.
Me and ADT, we're sighted in. We have our sights on our targets. Right.
Yep.
We know it's going to be a kill shot. ADT defeats Christopher James. Dylan Andrew takes care of the business with AJ Morgan.
Yep.
Who's in the sights next?
Hell, I think at this point, with all the people Tilly's bringing in, I mean, you might have to see. I'm
calling my shot right now. I don't like Tyson. I'm going to take care of Tyson. Leave Tyson to me, ADT.
So let me get this straight. You want Tyson Gates after Retribution?
I want Tyson Gates. After I run AJ Morgan through the dirt, I'm going to do the same exact thing to Tyson Gates. I'm going to take care of him. He has no respect for this business. He has no respect for ADT, and I'm going to destroy him. I'm going to take care of my brother, leave him in the dirt, and then I'm going to set my sights on Tyson Gates. You heard it here first. Tyson Gates is going to be the very next victim.
Well, I'll tell you what, it sounds to me like on Sportswire Radio, I think we just heard a shot heard round the world in that the war criminal himself, the original Dylan Andrews, went right for the jugular. He wants Tyson Gates after he finishes his brother, AJ Morgan, once and for all. And something tells me here, General Manager Hillbilly Tilly is going to be paying attention to that very closely because we are going to.
I thought Hillbilly was about to jump in.
I was like, oh, here we go.
Well, I mean,
just called him a bitch like 3 times.
Out, and I want people to follow the War Criminal on Instagram one more time at the _original _Dylan Andrews. And I promise you that he is going to certainly be a name. You're going to be hearing a lot more on Sportswire Radio, and we are certainly looking forward to that. As he says, he is his little brother's worst nightmare on September 16th. That nightmare very well, once again, is going to come to reality. And before I get to the champions' closing thoughts here, Mr. James would like to say one more time, I'm letting you know now In the main event of Retribution, someone is not walking out of there. Someone will be leaving on a stretcher. I look forward to another 5-star match, but expect my best. Christopher James is certainly a man with a lot of bravado, a lot of moxie. He is certainly telling people why he is the king of the yard. But I know our champion, our reigning, defending Alliance Wrestling League champion of the world, ADT, one of the top right now in this sport, is going to disagree, and that's why we're giving him the floor to say anything else he wants to plug, share, or say. And the champion, you have the floor. I say no more.
He's entirely right. Come September 16th, one of us is not leaving that backyard, but I'm a betting man, and we already know where this is going. I've told people if they come in the backyard with me, they're leaving in a body bag. I mean, hell, AJ Morgan didn't get up the last time I faced him.
Oh,
go ahead and throw the bills out. Go ahead and throw the bills out. I mean, let's just be honest. Out of everyone that I've been in the backyard with, the only person that got saved from the wrath was really Tyson Gates. And if y'all paid attention to the first ever, main event, I feel it's very apropos that the first main event of AWL coming back was ADT versus Christopher James. And it was for the AWL Heavyweight Championship Tournament. It was the semifinals. Now at AWL's first ever premium event, it is ADT versus Christopher James for the AWL Heavyweight Championship. There's just one big difference here is I'm a changed man, Tom. Everyone knows this. Everyone knows this. There will be no respect at the end of this. I'm not shaking his hand. I'm not helping him up. I'm not going to hold the back of his head and embrace him in the middle of the mat and make it a good, whole, heartfelt. People are going to see crimes committed on this damn pay-per-view. I'm going to beat him like a redheaded stepchild. It is going to be violent. If you thought what I did to AJ Morgan, what was it, 3 weeks ago? Let's say it's 3 weeks ago. Yeah, I think it's 3 weeks ago. I don't give a fuck. The point here is that I'm gonna beat the fuck out of him. I told him that. Oh, I'm sorry, but it's nothing new. I've told y'all this time and time again. I will always be the AWL heavyweight champion. September 16th is no different. I appreciate that he is coming with this attitude, though. I hate that it's behind a behind a phone. I'm shocked we don't see this more on week-to-week TV. I'll just go ahead and say it. I'm not impressed by what he's actually
camera shy
on there.
Give him.
He takes a minute.
But if you're going to be at the top of this sport, and especially in the Alliance,
you got to be firing on all cylinders immediately.
Yeah. You can't be afraid of the camera. You can't. You can't.
I
hide
get guys
behind
on here all the time. I get guys from all over the world, and they come on here and they show bravado. And obviously, Mr. James, that's going to be a big question. Will he show that bravado? I don't know.
I want to know I want to know what man shows up in there. Is it going to be the one that we knew as Chris Payne, the one that would give his fucking left leg to win the championship? Or if we're going to see the fucking dollar store profits show up again in his little, nice purple and blue basketball gear.
Knock off LeBron over here.
That Charlotte jersey we always see, that Charlotte Hornets jersey, which really for a team that hasn't had much success either of late.
Yeah, there seems to be a trend there. But
Michael Jordan gave up on, by the way.
Good point.
But closing thoughts, Christopher James. I'll give you a little bit of relief right here now, live on Sportswire. Dude, I'm not gonna fucking touch you until September 16th. I don't want there to be no excuses for whatever the fuck happens to you. And thank God Tilly's making us all sign waivers now because, fuck, he needs to include health care for you because I'm literally going to run straight through your ass.
Life insurance for AJ.
Yeah.
Well, if in New York he was a migrant, he'd probably get that and some, but that's a different time.
Different conversation for a different time.
Yeah, let's not get political. But, yeah, Christopher James, it's respect right now. The man you're going to, like I said, you're lined up in the scope. It's fucking kill shot season. And that's all I got, Tom.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you aren't following the Alliance Wrestling League after the shots that was fired tonight, you clearly need to do so, or there will be retribution toward you. And you can go on YouTube at Alliance Wrestling League Instagram, Alliance_Wrestling_League. The _original _Dylan Andrews on Instagram. ADT _is_BYW on Instagram as well. And find out why. This is one of the companies that to me is quickly moved up the top of the food chain. And that's all going to come in climax on September the 16th, the first ever premium show in Alliance Wrestling history called Retribution. This is where all the fireworks, all the summer works we've seen here on Sportswire Radio are all going to come and rear its head, its ugly head. And I promise you, the summer will not conclude until Retribution, where we see to kick things off the war criminal himself, the original, Dylan Andrews against his brother, AJ Morgan, in that main event for the Alliance Wrestling League Championship, one of the most premier prizes in this sport. Our reigning defending champion, ADT, will take on the king of the yard himself, Christopher James. It's going to be one, I promise you, you are not going to want to forget. It is going to be one for the ages. I can't wait. And I can't wait to continue to talk about the Alliance Wrestling League these next few weeks on Sportswire Radio. Buckle up your seatbelts, because this is going to be one we're going to be talking about for a real long time ahead. Gentlemen, it's always a pleasure. I'm looking forward to hearing more from you guys the next few weeks. I can't wait to watch Alliance Wrestling League TV as well coming up these next few weeks before the 16th, the premium show, the biggest event in company's history. And definitely looking forward to the next round. I know the War Criminal, you'll have a few more rounds, I'm sure, throughout the rest of the night. And the champ, I know you'll always be getting ready to party and get that limousine I know is waiting on you in a few minutes. So I'll let you guys run here. And thank you so much as always, and can't wait to do it again. And I'm looking forward to the show on the 16th of September. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having us.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was from the Alliance Wrestling League, the war criminal himself, the original, Dylan Andrews, who has responded to his brother's challenge, which we are now going to see on September the 16th, Retribution and Alliance Wrestling League. It'll be AJ Morgan and the war criminal himself, the original, Dylan Andrews, to kick off the show in a rematch of what we saw last week on Alliance Wrestling League champion and that pretty belt that he's holding, our reigning defending champion, ADT, who's going to be defending that championship in a backyard rules match against Christopher James, who certainly reared his ugly head at the main event of episode 10, and the champion is certainly going to have Retribution on his mind. We can't wait for all of that. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, the man behind Sportswire Radio. If you're on sportnarium.com/player, you're going back to your regularly scheduled programming, and I'll be back here tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, about 24 hours from now, with the nemesis James Taylor, who's going to talk about why he left TBW, what his future is, and more. So you're not going to want to miss that. Also, Monday, you get 2 for the price of 1, 1 o'clock Eastern time from XCW Shelbyville, Justin Parsley, at 4:30 p.m., the new Greek Wrestling Association champion, the Shadow Jay Gaz, and also Wednesday night, UK time, afternoon time here in New York and Alabama. I'll be here with the Big Cheese Logan. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are on the number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio.